How's it going, Assassinators? No Data here, and welcome to another Assassin video. Today's video is going to be all about the Champion Blade right here, as you see on the screen, and my experiences with the competitive leaderboard. But before I do that, I'd like to talk about last video. So if you didn't watch last video, which is all about the new game mode, the deathmatch mode, I had a pet. I had a Crimson Drake pet, and I named it Winterra. And I told the viewers, whoever could guess where that name came from would get their comments pinned and win a free exotic. And when I was doing that, I thought I was making a pretty safe bet, because this channel is still pretty small at the moment. But you guys proved me wrong. One person actually guessed it correctly. So I'm just gonna let you guys know right now. The name Winterra came from a game called Magic Quest. It's sort of a video game, but it's sort of not. You actually go there. It's sort of like a live video game, and you basically walk around the building finding stuff. And there are a couple bosses in that game, and one of them is a dragon, an ice dragon named Winterra. And I didn't think anyone would get it, because even if like you look up the name Winterra, you really don't see it anywhere, so I really didn't think anyone was going to get it. But shout out to the winner, Sean Richard on Roblox, for guessing it correctly and winning a free exotic. So congratulations. But yeah, today's video is about the Champion Blade. If you guys don't know about this knife, this is the rarest knife in Assassin by far. I mean, unless you count the band hammer, but that's for admins only, so it doesn't really count. Only 10 people have the Champion Blade at the moment, because you have to be in the top 10 by the end of the month in the competitive mode leaderboard, which only came out last month, so only 10 people have the Champion Blade so far, so it is the rarest knife. And this knife is pretty difficult to get, because you're just competing with other people on the leaderboard. And it's really not a matter of... There's really no luck involved, like with most knives. Like, with other knives, you have to be lucky in some way, shape, or form, even though you don't really need good luck to make profit. It helps. It helps. Luck does help. Because of like case unboxings and like getting good trades, you have to be lucky to get a good trade with someone in a way. Obviously, if you know your values and you're smart, you really need less luck for that aspect. But in this one, there's really no luck whatsoever. It's pure hard work, because you just have to keep playing, you have to keep getting points until you make it. But if you guys don't remember, I ended up being number 2 on that leaderboard, and it's kind of ironic because at first I wasn't even interested in the competitive leaderboard. The day it came out, I looked at it and I didn't really care about getting on the leaderboard, because I felt the prestige spoke for itself. Like, obviously I was a high prestige, so obviously everybody knew I was good at the game, and I wanted to keep trading with people. And that's the thing, in competitive mode there's really no trading, so I didn't really want to spend a lot of time getting comp points. So I was doing like 100 competitive points a day for the first few days, because all I really wanted were the competitive prizes that you get at the end of the month. And I knew if I did 100 a day, I'd have more than enough for the prizes. But then what happened was, you know, I don't know if I got my competitive points for the day. I'm pretty sure I did, because I did it, like, near the beginning of my daily Elite Case play session. So I was on a classic server, and a friend, I don't remember who, but a friend sent me a message, and he sent a picture of the leaderboard, and it showed both the Elegant Blade and the Champion Blade. So I was like, well, crap, now I have to get on the leaderboard. So the moment I saw that, I was like, see you guys, I'm going to competitive. Okay, I'm gray now, apparently. So, oh, I'm purple again. So I immediately rushed over to competitive mode, and I started grinding, and it was very stressful at first. Immediately while going on to competitive, I knew I could get the Elegant Blade because that wasn't too hard. I knew I could get the Elegant Blade if I kept going. I wasn't sure about the Champion Blade at first, but I really wanted to get the Champion Blade. So when I got around to the top 100 is when I really started going for the Champion Blade, because I compared myself to the top 10 person. Obviously, like, the top 10 person is like the minimum requirement of points you need to get the Champion Blade, and obviously it's going to go up over time, obviously. But once I got to like the top 100, it seems like a realizable goal, but it was still pretty stressful at the time. I felt like I had to play constantly and like every day, and if I took like an hour break, then like I just barely missed the Champion Blade and ended up being number 11 and be super depressed. So it was extremely stressful at first. I had so much anxiety. Me and the Lumens, who was also on the leaderboard, we called it leaderboard anxiety, which was very accurate. But it did get easier over time, and I must say, for the June leaderboard at first, I'm gonna talk about the July leaderboard later on. Getting the top 10 in the June leaderboard was easier than I expected it to be, because obviously I didn't start for the first few days, so I expected I had to play constantly, and you know, I had other things to do at the time. I still had finals to take because my school ends a little later than some states, but I had some things to do. I had to go to my sister's graduation, you know, I did have other things to do, so I expected it to be pretty difficult. But to my surprise, it actually wasn't too difficult. I just kept going, I kept rushing onto the leaderboard, and I ended up being number 2. And by the end, it was actually pretty relaxing, honestly. The stress went away over time. And I do love how I was able to just sit back, relax, just, you know, obviously on the last day, June 30th, on the last day of the June seasonal leaderboard. Everybody played, everybody. But I expected it to be a pretty stressful day because everybody was just rushing onto the leaderboard. But I was so far ahead in the lead that I was able to just sit back, relax, and not even worry about becoming number 3. So that was pretty good. And that was most of my experiences. I would like to debunk some things that people say right here and right now. And a lot of people think, those who are not on the leaderboard, they think that we play constantly and we don't sleep. And honestly, when I began rushing onto the leaderboard, I thought that too. Like, I looked at the number 1 people and I was just like, they probably never eat or sleep and they play constantly. But just so you guys know, that is far from the truth. I'm gonna tell you this right now. Everybody on the leaderboard, they slept, they took breaks, they didn't cheat, they didn't hack or anything. You know, we ate, we slept, we took breaks. Even like the number 1 person, Blue and Pink Yum, took like a 3-day break near the end of the season because he was just so far ahead. He took a break for like 3 days straight, doing other things. By the end, pretty much everyone was sick of this game. I wasn't that much because I was used to playing this game every day for an extended period of time. You know, I've been doing daily elite cases for months now, and so I was used to it, but most people were just sick of Assassin. But again, everybody took breaks, nobody hacked, we all slept, and you know, nobody, like, it wasn't like a 2-man thing where like one person would sleep and somebody else would take the computer and keep grinding points. That never happened to my knowledge. But that was pretty much everything that happened. And I don't plan on getting on the leaderboard again because my intention was just to get the Champion Blade because I knew it was going to be super rare, and that's what I accomplished. So I really don't plan on getting on the leaderboard again. Not to mention that I just wouldn't have enough time to do that. Because I have summer assignments and stuff, you know, I'm getting older, so I'm gonna have to learn to drive and stuff. And, you know, obviously I have this YouTube channel here that I want to, you know, maintain. And if I had to constantly play to get on the July leaderboard, I wouldn't be able to do it because, again, the June leaderboard was easier than I expected. But the July leaderboard, I do expect, and I've been correct so far, I expect it to be much more difficult than the June leaderboard. Like, this current season, I expect to be much harder. And the reason for that is, you know, the competitive mode kind of came out of the blue in the middle of the month. So, A, nobody was prepared for the June leaderboard. And 2, it was just half a month. So everybody on that leaderboard just had to maintain their position for only half of the month. But in July, everybody's prepared for it. Again, it's still pretty rare. Obviously, the Champion Blade is going to get less rare over the months, but only 10 people have it at the moment, so everybody wants it. So people are prepared for it, and you have to maintain your position for the entire month, which is a lot harder than just, you know, 15 days. So that's why I do believe that the July leaderboard is much harder. I have no intentions on getting it. I went back to my algorithm of 100 competitive points a day, and even I don't follow it that much because, you know, 1,000 points in a month is really not that hard for me, because back then I would get 1,000 points in like a day. So, you know, it's really not that difficult. I just, you know, I hop on a competitive server for maybe like an hour at most every now and then I just leave because it's really not that difficult. But yeah, that's pretty much all my experiences on the leaderboard. It was stressful at first, but it got easier over time, and I met a lot of nice people, you know. A lot of people thought, like, especially when I got to number 2 on the leaderboard, everybody thought that me and the number 1 person hated each other. Like, we were just hardcore, like, competing, and that wasn't really true. Pretty much everybody on the leaderboard talks to each other on Discord, and it was a really good time. I'm still friends with Blue and Pink Yum. You know, we don't hate each other or anything. We weren't, like, hardcore competing. And honestly, if I took his number 1 position, I would have felt pretty bad. Because, you know, all he really wanted to do was to get number 1. All I wanted to do was just get the top 10 and get the Champion Blade. So if I took his position, honestly, I would have felt pretty bad. But, you know, we weren't like hardcore competing. You know, we're all friends here, and I'm perfectly content with number 2. You know, there's nothing wrong with being number 2. That's still pretty dang good. And that's pretty much everything about competitive mode itself. All of you people trying to get top 10 or even top 100 on the leaderboard for this month, I wish you all good luck. It's very difficult, you know, it's easier than I thought, but it's still very, very difficult to get the Champion Blade. So I wish all of you good luck, and I hope the best for all of you. But for the Champion Blade itself, some of you are probably asking, is the Champion Blade tradable? Can you trade it? Can you sell it? The answer is no. You cannot trade it. The Champion Blade and Elegant Blade were tradable for about the first day. It was tradable for the first 24 hours or so. You were able to trade it. But after a day or so, Prisman made the Elegant Blade and the Champion Blade not tradable, which honestly I'm kind of disappointed about. I had no intentions on trading the Champion Blade because I just worked so hard for it. The Champion Blade is like my baby right now. But honestly, I did want it to have a value. I did want it to be tradable just so that it had a value. Because obviously if you can't trade it, there's really no value to it at all. Obviously it's still extremely rare, but because you can't trade it, it's really not worth a certain number of exotics. Champion Blade was never really given a value on the value list because apparently it was too soon to tell or something. And then by the time anybody really came up with a value, it didn't become tradable. So we really don't have a set value for the champion blade. But the elegant blade did have a value for a while. On Zikoi's value list, it was valued at 70 to 80 exotics. But the value said unstable. I don't know what that means by unstable. I mean, I guess it means, like, you know, set to change, which was kind of obvious. You know, the blades were pretty hard to value at first. But, I mean, personally, if I had to value the champion blade... My phone just went off. If I had to value the champion blade, considering that the elegant blade was worth about 80 exotics, and 100 people have that, so if 10 people have the champion blade, you gotta multiply it by 10, obviously, and it would be 800 exotics, which, I mean, obviously you can't trade it, so these numbers really don't matter at all. But I would value it at about 800 exotics. But I want to know what you guys think. Comment down below the value that you think Champion Blade would be if it was tradable. I'm curious on what you guys have to think. So comment down below a number, how many exotics that you think the Champion Blade is worth. But yeah, that about wraps up the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this gameplay with Champion Blade. And that's pretty much everything. Don't forget to subscribe to become an assassinator, and don't forget to become a member of the Purple Nation by hitting that bell next to the subscribe button. And I will see you guys in the next video. Toodles.